Welcome into the lounge presented by DraftKings, the inaugural video lounge. Thrilled to have Marlon Humphrey join us today. This is a big episode, Marlon. And so we were thinking maybe if you want to, since this one's on video, you could double this and use it for Studio 44. I know that we're the big time guests that you've been waiting to book. So we'll just kind of collaboration, right? So we're kind of waiting for our invitation, though, for the actual studio. Did that get lost in the mail or what happened to that?
I'm still getting backed up from COVID and different things. It's COVID, where it's in the past, but it's kind of, still some effects. So
gotcha.
That's kind of where mail and it's backed up. It's probably on a ship out in the ocean, just waiting to get shipped out.
Okay, all right. We'll wait. We'll keep waiting.
We will. So, all right, man. How's just let's start there. Like, what do you think of the media side? You've been doing Studio 44 this throughout the off season. I know you're still working on it in season, but what have you thought of the media side of things?
It's been good. It's been new. I think it's I've done a lot of interviews in my life, but until recently, it's been the first time I've been interviewing people. So it's been really unique. It's been really cool to hear some of the stories I've heard from different guys. And it's also been it's challenging to get guests.
Welcome to our world.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's the difficulty.
Yeah, even on your own team. So that's tough. I got a lot of friends I keep telling they got to come to a game so they can come by, get on the show. So there's a lot of people I really want to get. But yeah, it's been new, but it's been really exciting.
All right, best and worst guest so far. I can't wait for the worst. That's really why I'm asking.
I have a worst, which I just don't want to say.
Okay, I thought you would be eager to throw him under the bus.
I would, but I can't. But the best would by far have to be Bashotti.
Oh yeah,
I just really like. I wish we could have got some stuff that we said before we got on the cameras.
That's always the best stuff is before and after the show starts.
I'm like, we might need to do somewhere just get going from the beginning. But just in a way, he humbled me from the aspect when he was like, I would love to go into business with a guy like you that can't give 100% dedication to the craft. And I was just like, it just really clicked because I'm like, anyone that's really dedicated to their craft would put all their time into it, but a guy like me and any other athlete that's trying to do if they're trying to do something else, there's only so much time you can put. You have to put your faith into someone else, basically, to fully do it. So I was just in there like, well, let me check not running a business while I'm playing off the box there after he said that. So, and some other good stuff he said. But to me, that was really cool. I'm sitting here in front of, our team owner, who obviously could be doing anything, but gave me about 30 minutes of his time. So that was really cool.
Now, you say you're not going to open a business, but I think your barbershop business might be about to take off. We saw your tweet doing some haircuts there.
Yes.
So what do you think? You think
it was Ben Mason, correct?
Ben Mason, right.
Well, I kind of contradicted myself. I said I wasn't going to do a business, but Tuesdays might be my day, man. But I walked in the locker room, and Ben Mason walks up and goes, just a guy I needed to see. I was like, when Ben Mason says that, if someone else says that, I'm like, okay, what's up? But when Ben says it, I'm kind of like, this could go a bad way. So he brings me back there. He's like, bro, I just can't get the back. I need some help with the back. I'm like, back of what, first off? And I'm like, back of what, buddy? I mean, we're going, And then he's like, the hair. So I get the clipper, trying to line him up, and I finished him off his haircut.
Was he happy with the cut?
Yeah. He was happy with it.
It's the back. Nobody can see it. That's the best part.
It was the back, but I had to get the side too, and I stayed away from the. I mean, we're all getting older, but Ben's hairline's starting to go a little. So I was like, dude, it's a little uneven, but I think that's not because of me. I think that's because of you. So it was an interesting Victory Tuesday, I'll say that.
Nice.
All right, so let's talk a little football. You guys start the season with a big win against the Jets. Like, how were you? You didn't play in the preseason. Yeah. You got hurt last season, and end of the year on IR. Like, what were your emotions going into the game? Was there nervousness, anxiousness? How did you feel going into it?
It was kind of weird, without, not playing the preseason, not playing like last year. It was just a little, it felt like you hadn't done it in so long, so it was a little probably anxious, just really ready to just start the season. It seemed like it took, forever to get here, and then watching preseason and getting hyped for the guys, but nothing really clicks like when you're actually playing. So it was just really exciting. And always great to open up with a win. So it was really just fun, exciting.
Well, and the way the defense played, I have to imagine that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was good.
Yeah, getting after Joe. Marcus gets a pick in his first game. I will say, though, you went into it going, with anticipating 2 interceptions.
I know.
That was the goal in your first, and I have to laugh. It really did crack me up last week when you told, who was it, Marcus Peters?
Marcus Peters, yeah.
And you said, I'm going to get 2 picks in the first game. He goes, if we get 2 picks from you all year, I'll be happy, Marlon. You're,
Yeah.
No, the first game.
Yeah, Marcus, he humbled me a little there going through. So maybe that's why I didn't get 2.
Right.
I was thinking 2, and then he said 2 for the year, and I'm like, no. I was saying 2 for the first game. He was just like, let's just do 2 for the year. I was like, all right, whatever. So maybe he kind of jinxed me on that. Maybe the 2-pick game is coming soon.
Right. Now, how do you've played, you've always kind of moved around, but, you played in the slot some this past Jets game. Do you feel like, because of your physicality, right? Like people talk about how you play the game like a linebacker. You're a linebacker playing corner. Yeah. The fruit punch, we all know about that. That really kind of suits you. Of course, you can play outside, but getting near the line of scrimmage, there's some big boys running around in there.
Yeah, there is.
But, do you kind of like it because that is a strength of yours?
Yeah, I really do like it. It's something I never thought I would do, actually.
Yeah.
I remember when they first asked me to do it, I think it was either a Bengals or a Steelers game, and I was like, I didn't really say no, because I wouldn't really say no to anything they asked me to do.
Right.
Just because I'm just like, if you guys think so, I'll do it. But I remember thinking to myself, like, I don't think this is going to work that well. And then just being around the ball so much and being able to, get there and be aggressive, it kind of just, I realized I had some strengths there. But obviously with different guys go down to different things, kind of some things have changed to where you kind of I can be in there a little, sometimes be outside, kind of just move all around.
Right.
Other than when I was kind of predominantly playing it at all times when we had Jimmy and Marcus and Brandon Carr and all those guys. But it's been new, which, now it's so normal. But if you had asked me that 3 years ago, I'd have just been like, I would have been the same way. Like, I just can't see it happening. But it's been really cool to play that spot. It's been a new view for the game for me.
Yeah.
Does the mentality kind of change? Like, I feel like when you're playing outside, you just kind of have like the on the corner mindset, and then inside the island on a corner, on an island mindset. But then when you're inside, you're kind of thinking about everything, like how you're just going to interact with linebackers. You're probably watching more to get picked. I don't know. How does the mindset change when you're inside?
For me, I try to just cause a lot of disruption, kind of. So I'm really thinking a lot more aggressive when I'm in there. Sometimes I get in linebacker stance, and I'm like, I don't know what's about to come, but I got to be ready at all times. So I'm thinking a lot more aggressive when I'm inside, just from rerouting and different things. And like, I'm just trying to hit people just to hit people for no reason sometimes. And sometimes that gets me in trouble, actually. But so I'm that's really all I'm thinking about, is just how can I disrupt the flow of offense? That's kind of my mindset when I'm inside. Whether it's even when you're playing man, how can you disrupt? Because those slot throws are always the easiest throws to make for a quarterback, as closest guy to him. So, and when I'm outside, I'm like, it's only so aggressive you can get here. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty bad. Right. So
flags start flying.
And they will get to flying. So it's just a different mindset when you're playing inside and outside. And I would say just the level of aggression and kind of speed and eyes kind of would be the biggest difference between inside and outside.
What goes through your head when you see like a big tight end coming to block you, or even if it's a pulling guard that's kicking out in a run play and you have to take that guy on? What's going on in your head?
Well, for me, it depends on kind of what's going on behind him. If it's like out in the field and I'm like, it doesn't look like my cavalry's coming, then I'm like, let me just try to stay in front of this guy. But a lot of times I try to get there before they're really ready for me. So I think anytime an O-lineman sees me, they're like, oh, I can't wait. So I'm trying to, as soon as he sees me, I'm trying to be making contact with them just to kind of get my edge. And then with tight ends, it depends on this. If it's Nick Boyle, then it's going to be a tough one for me. But if it's somebody else, that we're playing, a lot of these guys are big-time pass catchers, and they don't really want to do too much blocking themselves. So there's a chance I can win those. But a lot of times the extra 50 pounds that are coming at me, usually I just try to hold my own and just try to hold my own and hope hope my guys are coming.
Right. Now we talk about being on an island. Another assignment that you sometimes get is that one-on-one assignment. You know, you're trusted. Hey, this is their top guy. You're our top guy. You know, we're gonna match you up, right? Going into a Dolphins game where they have, well, really two top guys, right? Yeah. Tyreek especially. You know, do you kind of, as a corner, do you want to get the one-on-one assignments? How do you kind of look at that part of the job?
For me, it's kind of an interesting like concept to me of like matching up. I feel like I don't know, maybe when Revis was playing, maybe like 8 years ago back in his prime, it was like those one-on-one matches essentially like won football games. Now you see like a lot of times when guys do that, even if they shut this guy down, the other team can still win. So it's kind of something that you can do it, but it's kind of to me, it's kind of almost like phased out of the game. These offenses are just so they can run through one guy, or sometimes they'll be like, we don't even need to throw to him. We can still beat this team by doing this. So it's kind of a unique concept. Like I remember when last time I had a really good one doing that was against the Browns, and I felt like I shut Odell down, and then we still got killed. So it's like you can do that and like make it really about that, but it kind of just depends, whatever game. So I do love those. Those are like great. Like as a kid, you're like, I used to just go on YouTube, type in this corner against this guy, guy. And
watching
so
Revis tape.
Yeah, Revis tape. And like, I love those. Like those are always sweet. That's like any corner's dream. But I want to win. So like sometimes me, when they don't do that, I'm like, obviously we think we can be best if we do it this way. So whatever way can win, but those one-on-one matchups are like, especially when you like ball out, it's like the best feeling.
Right.
Do you ever go to a coach? Like, would you go to a defensive coordinator and say, like, give me Tyreek Hill or whoever you're playing that week, or do you just kind of let them handle that? Like, how do you have enough of, like, you let your voice be known about, I'm sure as a veteran player.
That's different than a hot food take.
Yeah, it's true. That is different. That is different. The macaroni takes.
Yeah. So sometimes going into the week, you're like, you just want certain guys, just if you think it fits. Like I usually let them, but we use like what goes on in the meeting, then they'll kind of come to me like later, and then we'll kind of so we can be on the same page essentially. And I mean, I love it. I mean, it's really great anytime you get to do that. But a lot of times you kind of see how it goes through the week too. Yeah. So like sometimes you'll Wednesday and then you'll be like, you know what, let's do this, and then you'll kind of change it up on Thursday and then be like, all right, we're gonna have you match up the whole game, or we're gonna have you do this. So I kind of like how we've done it in the past. We've kind of seen throughout the week which game plan kind of works best with just the flow of practice, and then kind of made a decision off there.
So kind of along the lines of letting your voice be heard, like you are one of the loudest players on the practice field. Like whenever you walk onto the field, we would see that in training camp, and it's kind of been cool to see that, like your, I guess, progression since you've been here. How much, like, do you feel like the leader of this defense, like, and maybe that's just something that happens with time as you're, first round pick and you get a big contract and you play really well and all that stuff. How do you kind of view that aspect of your game?
So for me, I kind of think about, if you don't have energy, hopefully I'm bringing the energy for you. And so I think, energy is just so contagious. I think about, when I was here with Sis and CJ guys and Eric Weddle guys I really looked up to, you just go off kind of what, how they kind of operated, how they moved. And a lot of times what you saw was like from Sis, you always knew Sis was going to say something. He was always going to move a certain way. And CJ was more of a guy that he just led by example. He wasn't going to talk that much, but he was going to make everybody right when somebody messed up. And so for me, I'm just always trying to come out there with just enough juice to make sure if there's that one guy that's like, I'm kind of tired today, and don't really know, they hear me, they're either like, all right, let me get right, or be like, man, can Marlon shut up, please? And either way, it's an effect. And so that's kind of what I'm doing. And sometimes I'm doing it for me. Sometimes I'm like, crap, I got to get going. Let me get right. So, I love, just getting guys ready and the energy I receive back and looking at guys. And, I kind of feed off other people as well. So anytime I come out there, it's been really unique. I feel like I was a super quiet guy on the field when I first started. Mm-hmm. And then kind of as time just went on, I feel like, guys have told me, even Terrell Suggs when I was a rookie, I remember him telling me I was going to be a leader of this defense. And it's crazy how it kind of comes full circle. going on year 6, and I feel like I'm kind of the leader of that defense.
That's awesome.
Another guy like that, Marcus Peters, how much was, when you have MP Juice Man, as I like to say, how much was that miss last year? Like, how big of effect was that? He's different, I think, a little bit on the practice field than you are, but on games, Marcus is at an 11. Right?
Yeah.
So, like, how much was that kind of miss, and how great is it to have it back? How much of a difference does that make?
A lot of people probably don't know, but it was like a huge miss. I remember when he came, not only is he a good player, but people don't know how much talking he does. Like, a lot of times I'm doing unnecessary talking. He's doing a lot of productive talking, and he's telling me from across the field, like, hey, this, they're coming out in this, from across the field.
Right. Wow.
When they're huddled. So there's just so much, and just talking to everybody. It's just so much that he says during a snap, from when we get the call to what offense personnel they're bringing out to what he's seeing, and there's just so much that's just missed there. People just see the playmaking ability, but what people don't realize is the effect he has. And so when you're when you don't have that, obviously you don't miss it, but when you have it and then he gets hurt, right for the season, you're kind of okay, that was a part of our defense that's now gone.
Right.
So and that's not really getting replaced. There's not Marcus Peters aren't just walking on the street.
Right.
So and then it's not there. So then of course, guys can fill in and do their thing. There's always great players in our roster, but there's only one, that guy. That's the thing about our team. You want to have a great depth, but once you miss a guy like that, it's a big piece of the defense. It really hurts. So I'm super excited to get him back whenever he gets back, and I know he'll be the same Marcus of the old.
Do you feel really good about how good this defense is? I think we got a taste of it on Sunday, but is the feeling that you guys have that this group could be special? I
think this group can be really special. I think we played well against the Jets, but I just feel like there's a lot more that we can do. So I'm excited for it, man. I love the addition of Marcus Williams. That was huge. Justin Houston, I told him today, I was watching myself on film, then watching him. And I was like, I did not play with enough juice, because Justin Houston's looking like he's on playing year 2.
Right.
The energy he was having out there. I'm like, all right, next game I got to come with at least more juice, because this guy was making me look bad. So I think, when you got, year 12, whatever your vets, Calais, looking like they're on year 3, year 2.
That D-line was balling out.
That Matabik.
Right.
I love the juice I feed off that. So, I felt like we played okay, but the D-line played, head and shoulders, and I think we can all elevate to that level.
Right. Now, I kind of want to get back to, we were talking about you and being a leader on this team, but you really resonate with me. I connect with you, Marlon, and you don't know this, because I think you kind of have a place on this team similar to the place that I have in our department. And that's kind of as a troll, right? And, I am a very optimistic guy. I'm like to joke with people. Life is supposed to be fun, right? And that's how I kind of see that you view life. But you also like to clown people, and you get clowned a lot. When you're a troll, you get trolled on a lot,
This is
right?
true.
So talk to me a little bit about that and your standing on the team socially.
I often think about myself as far as my peers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I think some of these guys might hate me. But then I'm like, they hate, but it's like a love-hate. You know what I mean? And so
that's what I tell myself before I go to sleep.
My objective, there's this guy that calls me. His name's Bob.
Okay.
Every time he calls me, it's impossible not to smile after whatever he says.
Uh-huh.
I try to have that. That is a mindset I think of myself. When someone sees me, I say something to them, or we say something, have a conversation. Hopefully it ends in a smile. Whether it's a troll or whether it's messing with someone. I just told Lamar, walking off the field today, I was like, Lamar, where's your helmet? Everyone takes their helmet inside. He was like, I already took it inside. I was like, Lamar, you got to follow the rules. You want them to pay you all this money? You don't follow the rules. And he started laughing at me, and then he started making fun of the back of my head. And I was like, Lamar, the kids already made fun of the back of my head in middle school and elementary school. It's like, I'm secure about it now. So I know my head is kind of long in the back, but I've already had the jokes. So that's kind of, football can be, as, some organizations, as they're walking around like robots. Some people, you can express yourself. The great thing about here is you can be whoever you want to be as long as you do what you're supposed to do.
Right.
It seems like pretty simple. You just do your job, and then you can act whatever sort of way. It's like, That's a pretty easy way. You know, some people kind of want you to suppress who you are and different things.
Right.
So that's just me. I'm kind of like the cool troll. Gets made fun of a lot. Kind of messes with people, and then people mess with me. But it always ends in a smile.
Right.
Or a laugh.
And if you laugh with the joke, that's the thing. You got to laugh. You got to roll with the punches.
Got to roll with the punches. So, you know, if you're trolling somebody, someone's going to troll you.
Right.
And so
exactly.
That's kind of how it goes. And it's fun. I really, really enjoy it. I guess now that I'm on this like media side, somebody played a joke on me actually.
Ooh,
really?
In the upstairs.
Oh, yeah. I want to hear all about this.
EDC played a joke on me.
Well, that sounds about right.
And I didn't know, you know, I heard he was this jokester, and I'm like, someone gave me all right, there's a longer story to this. But anyway, someone gave me a stuffed animal.
Okay.
A very large stuffed animal.
What kind of animal?
It was a moose.
A large moose.
A large moose. Because we had the guy on the team whose name was Moose.
Okay.
So he sent me a moose. Or so I thought it was from him.
Wait, a guy on our team named Moose?
A guy on our team named Moose is with us in training and with us in mini camp.
Okay.
And I trained with him over the break because I wanted to work with him speed. He's a really fast guy.
Okay.
So we run like 10:08 in the 100.
Okay.
So I trained with him. And he sent me a moose. He's like, yo, I was like, oh, bro, like, look at that. He sent me a moose. And for the longest, I was like, but that's so weird. Like, why did you send me a huge moose? Like, it's kind of weird. Like, I was like, you know what I mean? But I didn't think anything weird. And then his training camp, it was a team moose. Like, everyone played with this moose. It was just in the locker room. It was just chilling. I was like, yeah, guys, the moose sent that to me. I told everybody. And then out of nowhere, EDC goes, I sent you that moose. I was like, what? He's like, I sent you that moose. I was like, because it was weird how it was in my locker.
Why?
Like, it didn't come in the mail. It was just in my locker.
It was just sitting in your locker.
And I was like, I didn't think. I was like, how the crap did Moose get in? He's not even on the team anymore.
Why the hell did Eric send you a moose?
Because I told him that I was training with Moose. So he played a joke. And I was just like, I'm not going to lie. That was pretty good. It was very random, but the moose is still in the locker room.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So
I've seen the moose.
Yeah, you've seen the moose.
I've seen the moose.
Still in the locker room. Some people use it as a defender with a little basketball hoop in there.
Right.
You cross them over. But the moose it's our team mascot for the locker room.
Right.
So
Okay.
pose down.
The moose steps up.
The moose, there might be a step up there.
All right, last question for me here, Marlon. One thing I think that's interesting about you is you've kind of like become like Mr. Baltimore to a certain extent. Like, you're a man about town. You go to Orioles games. You hang out in Baltimore. Like, you have no problem kind of being out and about, like, in the community, whether it's going to restaurants, Orioles games, like whatever it is. Talk to me about like that aspect of your life and why that, like, you have no problem. I think, some players or celebrities would like hesitate about.
Well, you
that.
said like to be Lamar, it kind of sucks to be famous.
Yeah, it sucks to
Be
be famous.
whatever level of famous. I mean, I think you're
Yeah.
famous, Marlon. What level of famous do you think you are?
My level of famous is great, I think.
Okay, great famous.
So I'm like, I do a lot of bird scootering around town.
Right.
Seems like. So
You ride your bike around town?
I ride bike around town, and I get like the drop past somebody, and I get the double take. And then when I'm far away, is that Marlon Humphrey? Like, I get those.
Right.
I'm not like immediately, oh, Marlon. So, like, my level is great. And so I kind of can go where people kind of notice me after the fact a lot of times. And so whether it's Orioles games and different things, but I've really grown to just really like the city and how the love they have for the Ravens. And so it's just been really cool. Like, I'm not a city guy. I come from Alabama. There's not really cities. So just being around, it's and then I moved downtown, so I've really gotten a chance to really get a deeper dive into the city. But it's just really cool. When I first got here, I kind of had a rough start. I got cussed out by my Uber driver. I cussed out this random lady for holding the door for her. And I was like, man, this is not Alabama at all. Like, this is like, God, this is like rough. But now that I've kind of really been out and about, it's been, over the past couple of years, it's really been pretty smooth, just being different places and going and seeing this, going to an O's game, going to here, and it's been really cool. So I've really enjoyed the city and just the people. They've really grown on me. But one thing I didn't really realize, like, I knew there was Ravens fans and they were really diehard. But moving downtown is like, now I'm like, yo, these people love the Ravens. So My lady Gail downstairs at Whole Foods, we've become friends. She works in the deli department. I gave her some tickets the other day.
Nice.
I'm becoming friends with a lot of people. I'm really enjoying the city, so it's been really cool.
All right, and last one for me. Speaking of questions that we get from fans, the wedding band, the ring on
Yes.
the ring finger.
Yes.
But you are not married.
Married.
You're married?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you know this?
Congratulations.
Congrats, buddy.
Yeah, I'm definitely not married. But yeah, see, I don't really.
Can you tell us about this, or is this off limits?
All right. This is an Oura ring here.
Okay.
And honestly, I don't really live by normal norms.
I like this already. I'm
So,
really
it's
feeling
like-
this.
I was gonna put it on. I didn't like any other finger. So
Yeah.
I don't want anything on my right hand. This is my good hand.
Right.
But then I don't like this finger. And then I can't do the middle finger.
That'd be weird.
And then the pinky, my pinky's, my knuckles, I mess up my knuckles. It's too fat. Then you haven't got to put on your thumb.
Pinky ring would be a little funky too.
Yeah. So then I'm like, but then I'm also like, I'm not one of those like want to have a big wedding. Like
Right.
Like
You're
literally,
just gonna be married one day.
yeah. I mean, if I can find the girl that's willing to do that, which is that's gonna be
another
the
part of the
problem.
question.
That's gonna be another problem. But I just the social norms of how things have to be done. There's not a book.
Right.
There isn't a book. Somebody just, I guess, one day said you're supposed to wear a ring on this finger.
Right.
Is that how it kind of works?
I think
I
so.
have no
Like,
idea.
who came up with that?
I don't know.
Right.
Like, I don't like
Who
that
made
person.
that rule?
Like, yeah,
Right.
exactly. So
Somebody that like they were like also pinky ring doesn't make any sense. Thumb doesn't make any sense.
exactly. It's only
But
this, I'm like,
so they were right.
yeah. So the day I am married, I guess no one's gonna know. I guess unless wifey makes me. Then so we'll see.
Well, we got
Anyway.
to the bottom of that.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Marlon.
Woo!
Thanks for
Yeah,
kicking us
inaugural
off.
guest.
Appreciate it, man.
All right.
Alrighty, thank you.
Thank you.
So big thanks to Marlon for joining the first ever version of the
Historic.
video version of the lounge.
Historic.
That was a big day. I know he was thrilled. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
thrilled to do it. So also, if you haven't done so already, make sure you go back and you check out the Studio 44 episodes that Marlon's done. He did one, like you mentioned, with Steve Bisciotti, Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman. Just really cool kind of insights into those guys beyond just what you hear in press conferences every week. You get to know them a little bit more as people. So if you can always go back and watch those as well. Those are posted right here on our YouTube channel. So go ahead and check those out. Also, we want to give a big shout out to our friends at DraftKings.
Mm-hmm.
As listeners and viewers know, the sports landscape's always changing. This week is no different. DraftKings is the leader in daily fantasy sports, and it still has daily fantasy contests running for those who are looking to have skin in the game. So this is simple. Every player has a salary associated with drafting them. You can assemble a lineup of players. You stay under that salary cap, then you sit back and you watch your points pile up. So you can sign up on the DraftKings app today using code FLOCK. Every new user will get a free entry with their first deposit. Again, the code is FLOCK at DraftKings.
Pretty great. So what do you think of the setup here, G?
Oh, it's great. We got some great art on the walls.
Yeah.
We got, where did we find the Ray Lewis statue here?
It's a bobblehead.
A giant bobblehead. But where did we find it? There it is. We got the band hat on him. He's holding the lounge sign.
He's ready, man. He's ready to roll. That was just sitting in the control room down outside the studio. So I hauled it up. Actually, Michelle got a great picture. Our boss, Michelle, got a great picture of me with it kind of over my shoulder like a baby. It was pretty good. Got the bobbleheads. We have the Gary Baxter throwback bobblehead for old school Ravens fans. Pretty great.
Yeah, and
the Heap.
And if anyone's like listening to this, you can't see any of this. This is to make sure if you don't do this already. From here on out, all versions of the lounge with guests will be posted to our YouTube channel. So we're going to be posting the lounge on our YouTube channel. You'll be able to watch. You see our crazy reactions to everything that is said on the lounge, and also get a chance to see these players as you're listening. So we'll still be doing the audio version, of course, but we're also doing the video version. So if you're listening to this on your podcast app, well, you can also watch it on YouTube, and that's going to be the case moving forward.
I just want to point out a couple other things in here, right? Because this is the first one. We have the commemoratives, which are the beer cans up there, which have been around here since 2012.
Yeah, we won the Super Bowl.
We won the Super Bowl. And Garrett and I will often, just on a Friday afternoon, it's happy hour time, about, you want to pop a commemorative? Which starts the debate of how old is too old for a beer.
Right.
What do you think?
We're over a decade. We're over a decade at this point. I think that we've passed the expiration date.
Somebody's going to lose a bet at some point and have to drink a
commemorative.
commemorative.
You know what? I think maybe when the Ravens win their next Super Bowl. So maybe it's this February. You got to chug the commemorative in the press box.
I think that's a
Super
great
Bowl
call.
Press box.
I think that's great. And then this behemoth right here is just a treasure in the lounge, which is a heavy wooden ball. I don't know how I wanted to go put it on the scale and get the weight on this thing, but it's pretty heavy. And everybody that comes into the lounge is challenged to palm the ball, which is not.
It's challenging.
It's challenging. It's not an easy feat, and it really determines, your strength, what you got in you. And Garrett, with your tiny little hands. You don't have it today.
Well, you
don't have it today.
I
can tell already.
Slick. Your palms are sweaty.
That's because we had ribs for lunch.
Your palms are all sweaty. Here we go.
No, you can't. No, you can't do it by the nose.
Work smarter, not harder.
That's
Easy.
cheating. So just to explain, here you got to roll it further. I kind of want to hold it over here. Thank you. Just to explain some of the decor around here, and then we went around and filled the shelves. We also rated everybody's cubicle. In marketing, corporate sales, thank you to them for the donations that you didn't even know that you made.
Yeah.
Because most of you weren't at your desk when I stole the stuff off of there to put up in here. So thank you to all those people out there.
I will say that this facility is like, if you need kind of random Ravens stuff, this is obviously the mecca
for sure
of that. So we had some fun.
I mean, a
rating
Gary
people's
Baxter bobblehead,
Yeah.
case in point.
We raided some people's desks today, and that was kind of fun. So the other thing, last thing on that front, we got a helmet here, which Marlon signed on his way out. Every guest who comes by the lounge, we're going to have them sign this helmet, and then we're going to give this away. And then I'm going to put it in my basement and find a perfect spot for it. We're gonna give this away at a point later this year. So
we'll have to come up with a really good contest.
It's going to be a very good contest because that's going to be.
If anybody has any ideas, email us.
Yeah,
the lounge at ravens.nfl.net. I'd be intrigued to hear what kind of contest ideas people come up with.
For sure. So all right, let's talk a little football. Ravens have their home opener against the Dolphins on Sunday. What's your take on this game? What do you expect?
This is a big game. I mean, the Dolphins, I think at the end of the year, we're going to be looking at the Ravens' playoff positioning, and the Dolphins are going to be part of that conversation.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they're 1-0, and I just think they're a very talented team. Obviously invested a lot, at left tackle, obviously at wide receiver, bringing in Tyreek Hill this offseason, and they have weapons. Jalen Waddle. So Tua has some big-time weapons to throw to on the outside, and their defense is good, as we saw last year. When the Ravens went to Miami, were heavy favorites going into Thursday Night Football, and ended up taking a tough one. That was a tough loss.
Yeah.
Pretty surprising. And so we all saw what their defense did that night. Historic amount of cover zero blitzes with their safeties bringing the heat. And so it's up to the Ravens to show that they have the answers for that. The rest of the season, really, until Lamar got hurt, it was kind of, okay, how are the Ravens going to respond to cover zero blitzes? Do they have the answers? And they struggled in a way. It wasn't just the Dolphins game even after that. It kind of lingered a little bit. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see now, not a year later, but the following season, after working on this in training camp and through the summer, do the Ravens have the answers for that cover zero blitz?
Yeah, obviously there's also a big change for the Dolphins is new coaching staff.
For sure.
So Brian Flores.
But it's the same defensive coordinator.
Same defensive coordinator. Brian Flores, a defensive-minded head coach, was there at the time. He's no longer there. And I think that's an intriguing aspect and kind of an unknown aspect with the Dolphins. Not just what they're going to do defensively, but Mike McDaniel, this offensive, kind of guru. Mm-hmm. What's he going to dial up as the Ravens are? There's not. You can go back. You look at tape from when he was in San Francisco.
Well, I'm glad we didn't get him week one. I think it's a little bit better to get 1 week of tape.
You have at least a week of sample size.
Exactly. It's not great, but you have an idea of what they want to do a little bit more.
And I'll say this. I think that the opening game, and I think a lot of people have asked me this. So the Ravens win handedly. The question I think a lot of people have asked is, well, was it just because the Jets aren't a very good team and they're playing with their backup quarterback? Or are the Ravens a good team? And I think the Ravens are a good team. I don't think the Jets are going to win a ton of games this year, but I think they have a really talented defense. Mm-hmm. And I think that was part of the reason the Ravens were slow out of the gate. And I think that this will be a kind of another test for the offense to see
oh, for sure.
I think this will be a chance to see, all right, how's this offense fare, especially if they get, a lot of cover zero blitz again against the Dolphins. rust is not going to be a factor. That's not something that would be brought into this game. And then defensively, you're going up against an offense in Miami that has way more weapons. Like, this is a dangerous offense that the Dolphins have, and I just think that we're going to get a kind of a much truer test of where the Ravens are.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I think that Tua is an interesting quarterback because he's different from Joe, right? Joe is this like big arm, makes every throw, known for being a gunslinger, for taking deep shots. Tua isn't known for being that as much, but now he has the weapons outside with the speed that he certainly can.
Yeah.
Right. And so
the RPO is a much bigger piece of it's not a piece of the Jets offense at all.
They're a very big RPO team.
Yeah.
Very big RPO team. So for sure, it's a stiffer test for the defense, and we're going to get a truer indication after what was a dominant Week 1 performance from this defense of really how good they are, and I think it's very good.
Yeah.
So I mean, Empty Bank Stadium is going to be rocking. The defense is going to be feeling that, and I think also it remains to be seen, whether we get more guys back from injuries. We talked a little bit about Marcus Peters with Marlon. Does he play this week?
Yeah.
Right. I thought that he had a chance. Certainly, I thought he had a pretty good chance of playing Week 1 against the Jets, and so it'll be interesting to see whether he takes the field this week. Does J.K. Dobbins play this week? Ronnie Stanley, all three of those guys who didn't suit up the first week. Where are they at now? A week later. So, we talked a lot. Also, just going back to the offensive side about the run game. Coming out of the Jets game, that the run game wasn't that sharp. J.K. Dobbins could change that in a hurry. I do think that a lot of it is on the offensive line, however. A lot of it, I think, is going to be working out some of those kinks from Week 1 and sharpening up the blocking for whoever is back there. Yeah,
totally. I also think Kenyon Drake having more time in the offense is going to help kind of iron out some of those kinks too, as he just kind of gets to know what he's doing and where to be and gets more familiarity. That's going to help. But it was good to have Marlon on this week because he's going to have his hands full, whether or not Marcus Peters plays or not. I think everyone's hoping Marcus Peters plays, especially after the Kyle Fuller injury. You lose him for the season to a torn ACL, late in that game. Suddenly the secondary, I'm not like, it's not last year where you lost everybody, but it's thinner. It's
definitely thinner. I mean, you subtract one, but the thing about that is, if Marcus were to come back, you're really in the same spot that you were last year against the Jets, right? He just steps in to the same spot that Kyle Fuller played. Brandon Stevens is still your number 3 corner, right? And then on down the line, right? Yeah. And so really what it was Kyle Fuller, I think, was expected to be the number 3 with Marcus and Marlon both healthy and out and playing. He was expected to be the number 3, and now that guy is going to be Brandon Stevens, it looks like, for the majority of the year.
Right. And if Marcus Peters weren't ready to play, now you're counting on Pepe Williams, Jalen Armour-Davis, the rookies,
to be the number 3. Right, exactly. So, I mean, obviously it hurts your depth. Injuries always stink, but I think that the Ravens are still in pretty good position. Knock on wood. God,
you knock on the football.
The football. I was going to knock on a shelf. Knock on wood. Like, I don't think the Ravens are in dire straits yet, depth-wise.
No, not at all.
Certainly from a cornerback perspective. And even at tackle, it's a little bit more dicey there if Ronnie weren't to return this game. Because you have Patrick McCary stepping in at left tackle. Well, now that means he's not your backup center, right? So Tristan Colon could be active, but who's your backup left tackle? Mm-hmm. Right, because you always have to have the backups, right? Yep. And so is that Faalele? Is that Morgan Moses would kick over to the left side? You have more questions about your tackle depth following the Juwan James injury then I think you have questions at cornerback.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah. There's more of a ripple effect on the offensive line.
I think so. Yeah.
So game is Sunday at 1:00 on CBS. For fans, as you make your way into the stadium, we're going to give out these flags, which I always think are pretty cool.
Well, free stuff.
Free stuff.
We have a lot of free. The promotional schedule dropped this week.
Yes.
Fans should definitely check that out because there is a lot of freebies.
Yes.
And you know how I feel about freebies.
We are well aware of how you
Yes.
feel.
Yes.
And then on a serious note, we are going to hold a moment to recognize both Jalen Ferguson and Tony Saragusa before the game around 12:40. So, that's going to be a powerful moment. If you haven't seen it, we are wearing a decal on the back of the helmets this year to honor both those guys. And so that is going to be something that we do before Sunday's game as well.
Yep. Well, thanks for watching. To everybody out there, you can always email us at thelounge@ravens.nfl.net and buckle up for the first video.
Oh,
Big win over the Dolphins. Let's go. Let's go.